Good Mom and Monday.
You're here at the Mistaken Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts.
This week, we are going to be talking about daylight savings.
By the time you guys listen to this episode, or I guess once it posts, I can't remember if daylight savings is about to happen or if it just did. I can't remember exactly when this episode comes out, but it's right around there.
This time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll be talking all about how that affects our daily lives, specifically.
The demon called daylight savings.
We are not going to get into the history of it.
No,
Don't worry.
No. That's a different podcast.
A way different podcast. I'm sorry. We're not history buffs. Not like that.
No. But first, wins, fails.
Wins, fails, books.
Got anything?
It's only been a couple days since since we last recorded, so I don't really have much different.
That's what I was thinking too. I was racking my brain all morning trying to figure it out.
Ellie, I guess it's not really a win or a fail, but it was really funny. I'll just tell this quick story.
Okay.
So the two older kids, so Anna and Damon, 6 and 3, were pretending to be dogs. Okay. And Ellie, I guess, was Anna's owner in a sense. Anna was like running around being her dog or whatever, and Ellie was just like going with it. She's like, yeah, sure, you're a dog, that's fine, cool. She'd like pat her head and throw a toy and whatever and everything.
That's funny.
Damon was apparently the neighbor's aggressive dog and would come over and be like, wah, 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 wah.
Oh my gosh.
Ellie grabbed Anna's head, pulled Anna's head into her tummy, like to protect her, and then went away. Stuck her hand out at Damon.
That's so cute.
And it was just so funny. It was just like, oh, because, she's like protecting her sister, the dog, and then just sticking up for herself. She's been saying away a lot.
Sassy.
Specifically to Damon. Away.
That's funny.
Away.
Oh my goodness.
She'll do it to us too when she's like mad at us about something. Be like, I'm sorry, do you want a hug? No, away. I'm like, okay. I'm nowhere near you, but all right.
But if you say so,
I will stay away.
That is too funny.
It is really funny. And then I'm still reading John. So
okay.
It's only been a couple days since we last recorded,
I know.
So I don't have an update there.
I don't think that I have a fail. I just have I came up with a win, I guess.
Oh, okay.
The kids just have been playing really, really good together lately.
Oh, that's great.
And they're, the ride things that we got them for Christmas, they've used them back and forth, but usually it's literally just to get from the bedroom to the living room, and then they just use it to get back as like their shuttle bus, I guess.
I mean, that's actually kind of cute.
Yeah. But the other day they were like all over it. Quincy's finally figured out how to like turn it and like put her feet down. She actually rides his because we mentioned on here during Christmas, his is smaller than hers. So she rides his and he rides hers. It works out.
It works.
But she's like figured out how to put her feet down and like totally turn it if she gets like stuck in a certain position. So the other night, probably for like half an hour, they were just all over the house, just just having a blast.
And it's motorized, isn't it?
Yeah. We haven't charged their batteries yet, but it's like the little battery ones that you have to. We never charged it. It came charged and we've never had to charge it.
Hey.
It's a good battery, I guess. I don't know.
Pretty good battery. I guess if they were only really using it like every once in a while, though, originally, now that they're going everywhere, you might need to.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to soon.
But I don't think I've mentioned this, by the way. My mom got us a Roomba.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to say, I always thought that they were kind of like snooty, uppity, or whatever. But oh my, does it make a difference?
Is that helpful?
It is, because like, even though I vacuum all the time, it is really nice to just be able to like, if I don't have the time to be vacuuming or I don't want to or whatever, or I'm going to sleep or we're leaving, I can just set that thing going and then I don't have to worry about there being crumbs on the floor.
Yeah, that is nice.
Without having to like physically vacuum 20 times a day.
Right, lug out the big vacuum and yeah.
But I will say, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I am. I didn't want to like it as much as I do.
Right.
And when my mom was like showing me, because she got one first, and she was talking about how much she liked it, and I was like, I've looked into those, but it always seemed really uppity, really snooty. But I'm really glad that she got us that, and it's been like one of my favorite additions to the home.
We looked at getting one, but with all the dog hair, every review is like, if you have dogs that shed constantly, you're going to be emptying it more than it's worth. Which I'm like, facts.
Well, yeah, the little vacuum compartment on it's really not that big.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really impressed with how quickly it filled up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, when I say impressed, I'm like, oh, my house is dirty.
Right, because I feel like it does a good job. It does a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
But we already go through regular vacuums. Like, we get a new one probably every 2-3 years, if not more. And so I can't justify it.
Especially with how expensive they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think mine was one of the cheaper models. Because they have like the smart ones.
Right, yeah.
That like can identify furniture and rooms and stuff. Ours don't do that. Ours is just like the basic one. But it does such a good job. Yeah. But I can see how because we don't have pets. Right. So the most hair you got is from our heads. And it's really not a ton. Yeah. I can see how that would be a problem though.
I think if we didn't have dogs, we would probably consider it. But
because I'm sure just with the cats would probably be fine.
Yeah, because the cats don't shed near as much as the dogs.
Oh, yeah, because if you go, 2 days without vacuuming, your house is winter.
Yeah, snowballs everywhere. Yeah, it's pretty rough. In the winter, it's better. But in the summer, it's like you vacuum in the morning and by the time you go to bed, it's like, did I vacuum today? I can't remember. Yep. Yeah.
So speaking of times of year... Ugh. Daylight savings happens twice a year. Well, sort of, technically. Yeah. Daylight savings, I think, is once a year, and then it goes back to normal. Yeah. Which, I mean, everybody just calls it all daylight savings. Mm-hmm. Although I think only the one happening now is
because we spring forward.
Yes, it's spring forward, fall back.
Yeah. Which, I mean, at least they did that.
At least
that's the only good thing that they did with
that. It's easy to remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I despise daylight savings and I wish that I could go against it, but I can't because the rest of the world would not. Mm-hmm. Isn't it Arizona doesn't?
Arizona does not, and neither does Hawaii.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Lucky so then. Sometimes Arizona is in our time zone and sometimes they are an hour
ahead, right?
Ahead?
I think so.
It's either ahead or behind. It's one of the two, obviously.
Right.
And then Hawaii is either 2 hours behind or 3 hours behind.
Right. Okay.
I think Arizona would be ahead because
it's ahead. Yeah,
because they're Eastern.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I remember when Thomas was going on a vacation to Hawaii back when we were dating and I was still living at my house. I was still in high school or whatever. So don't be like, oh, your husband went on a vacation to Hawaii without you. Yeah. No, I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was going for his 19th birthday. And I remember being like, how many hours behind are you going to be? And he's like, fuck if I know. We had to Google it.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely do without this event. I think originally we said we weren't going to get into the history, but I think originally it was for like farmers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so to give them more time during the day, I don't think it really does. I mean, you have the same amount of light regardless of where you're jumping your times.
Well, so like I said, we're not going to get deep into the history, but we can bring this up really quickly. It was so that during the summer months, I think, or no, it was during the winter months, summer, something. It would give them an extra hour of daylight.
But it doesn't technically give them an extra hour. It's not like you magically create extra hours. You just shift the time. The amount of light that's out is the same.
Yeah, I think it's because most of their work was happening in the evenings, though, and so it was more beneficial and more economic for that light to be lasting longer in the evenings than it was in the mornings.
Just seems not helpful.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays when everything is super modernized and like we can still work in the dark and stuff, it's not that big of a deal anymore. And I think that's why a lot of people are talking about getting rid of daylight savings.
I did hear that they're trying to. I know a lot of people have been going like against it for a while.
Yeah. I do know that any state can opt out of it as long as they want to stay within standard time. Any state can do that at any time.
Oh, okay.
However,
they would have to do that.
Well, no. Most states want to stay in the daylight savings time.
Why?
I don't know. Like, that's what our state, Oregon, has been trying to do, is they've petitioned for it a bunch of times. So has a bunch of other states.
Yeah.
I think they just like the daylight savings better.
Which makes no sense to me.
So, like, you know, how we have it right now, daylight savings, where they want to stay in is like where it's, you know, light until like 9 p.m. in the summer.
Yeah.
And then it would stay that time zone all year round. You know.
So dumb. So mad about it.
It is. And I mean, the whole thing.
I feel like it really messes with like our circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Like it takes probably a month or so to get into, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
When we do the switch.
And then in the winter time, it's getting lighter earlier in the morning and then darker so much faster.
Yeah. I hate it.
I hate it too.
When it's dark by like 3:34.
That's standard time though. That's normal time. And I think that's why everybody wants to stay in daylight savings is because then that would shift that clock then where it technically wouldn't be getting dark at 4, it'd be getting dark at 5.
Yeah, which feels better.
So that's what the farmers were trying to do is they were like, we like it better when it stays light until 9 p.m.
We just stay that. But what's weird to me is that time can be moved around.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't time just be what it is? Because way back in the day when they didn't have clocks, like they lived by the sun. It was just whenever the sun was.
It was based on the sundial.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like when the sun was at its highest peak versus when it was going down or coming up or whatever. And I just don't understand. I mean, I get it. Obviously, we have to have times. Oh, man. But yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, then you also have the whole, the fact that our time zones oftentimes like don't make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think when we were living in Spokane, we knew somebody who lived in Montana, but like just inside of Montana and worked in Spokane. Oh. So they crossed like the 45-minute trip of Idaho at the Panhandle and lived just inside of Montana. And so they had to like, because Montana's in a different time zone than Washington is, they had to like math in their head, okay, what time do I need to leave my house to then be back at work at time, and then be able to then skip time to come back home. Yeah. Or I guess it'd be the opposite. If they leave at 4 a.m. in Montana and it takes them an hour to get to work, they're still arriving at 4 a.m.
Yeah. That's weird.
But then it's the opposite when they go home. If they get off at 4, they're getting home at 6.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to get to work because you would feel like
no time passed.
No time has passed. I'm fine. Because you could wake up later, technically.
Technically, yes.
But to get home, you would get home later.
You lose that additional hour. So if it takes you an hour to get home, it technically, by the clock, takes you 2 hours.
Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah.
That would suck so bad.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And this guy was a trucker, so he...
Isn't Idaho in a different time zone too?
No, Idaho's in our time zone.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I never know where like the lines are.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Idaho's in ours.
Okay.
Is it not? Is it?
I mean, Nevada is.
Then yes, Idaho is.
Okay. So it's one more section of states over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always forget. Anyways, so we said we weren't going to get into this, right? And then we briefly did. And then we started getting into states and whatever's. It affects our day-to-day, specifically for like that first week.
Yeah.
So bad.
Especially with kids.
Yeah. I think it's the fall back. So going back into standard time, that honestly messes with us the worst.
Yeah.
And that's because everything gets shifted, backwards. You know, what would be 7 a.m. is now 6 a.m.
Right.
And then everything's just happening so much earlier.
Yeah.
And then like medications and too, like Jesus.
True. How do you figure that out? Because you take yours every 12 hours or every 24?
Yeah. So I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Sorry to put that out there.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's fine. I don't mind. It's not really embarrassing.
Right. Yeah.
And so I take levothyroxine. That's also known as Synthroid. Every single day. I take it every 24 hours.
Okay.
And so every
Snow
morning.
takes the same medication, but every 12.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it's different in dogs because I only need to take it once a day.
I don't know. She takes 0.7 milligrams twice.
Oh, I take anywhere between 0.75 and 100.
Oh. That's a big difference.
Or no.
0.75 and 1?
0.075 and then 0.1.
Oh, okay.
She takes 0.7?
She takes 0.7.
That is 7 times more than I am currently taking because I'm currently on the 100 because I was shifted.
14 times more because she takes it twice a day.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have my thyroid. I know that, like, if you don't, or if it's like straight up not functioning, I know that can vary. I don't know how much people who don't have who has like, is just straight up not working at all. I don't know how much they take. So, I mean, I don't know. But that's a lot.
Maybe it does different things in dogs too. I don't know.
Maybe.
I've never seen her numbers, so I can't tell you.
0.075.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she takes 0.7.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I do.
Sorry.
You're good. So right now I take it anywhere between 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. And they said I can take it an hour on either side of whenever I normally take it.
Yeah.
I started taking it around, I think, 6, and then I stopped wanting to wake up that early.
Mm-hmm.
But back then I could take it between 5 and 7.
Right.
And be fine. Now I wake up closer to 7, and so I take anywhere between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
So kind of just what I do when the time shifts is I end up having that default time be whatever, it should be. So like 7 o'clock is still technically 7 o'clock, but it is now either 6 or 8, depending, whatever. And so for like that first week or so, I try to be very religious about making sure that it is on time so that becomes my new default. And then I can start going on either side of that.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because I could see how that would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. The part that I'm kind of interested to see is, because isn't daylight, like the fall back, isn't that like early September?
I think it's like mid-September.
Because I'm trying to remember with Anna's school how that affected her. I don't remember. Because this is her first year being in school, like where we're not homeschooling. And so I'm not 100% sure how much that is affected.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was over a weekend. I mean, it always is because it's on a Sunday.
Right.
And so I think the next day she was okay. But like, it affects school and so much more, I think, if they're going to public school.
Oh, yeah.
Where like, in-person school specifically versus, she has the luxury of being able to just open up her computer.
Right. Exactly. I feel like springing forward affects bedtime and falling back affects wake up time.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Because when we spring forward an hour, if the kids normally go to bed at 8:30, well, they're going to feel like it's 7:30. And so they're going to have a harder time adjusting. I think last year we ended up trying to, like, I think we let him stay up for the first week, like till, well, this was back when we didn't have a really good schedule. I think we tried to like bring it down in like increments of like half an hour every day or maybe 15 minutes even till we got him at like a good normal, which our old normal was pretty late, but still. Yeah. And when you go to a job, that sucks.
Speaking of, I'm 100% positive that the fall back, which again shoots you back an hour, so you repeat an hour, he was working a night shift.
That when I work night shift, that's what I was doing. And we didn't get paid for that.
Well, he technically did.
I don't think we did.
He got paid for 13 hours.
Yeah, ours was still just 12.
Even though you physically worked, like if you were like timing it, it would be 13.
I'm almost positive.
No, so he gets paid 13.
I'm pretty sure you don't.
And then for the spring forward, he only gets paid 11.
Yeah. I think we got paid 12 no matter what. I think it was literally in our, I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember it being in our like contract where they tell you like all the holidays you have off, and then it talks about daylight savings, and it's just like you get a 12 either way. So I'm not losing an hour either, but
true, because for spring forward, then it makes itself up. I see.
Yeah.
That's dumb though. You work a 13-hour shift.
And at night, when you're working night shift and it hits, what is it? It happens at like 2 a.m.
2 a.m. on that Sunday
and it
or
hits
whatever.
2 a.m. and then it's 1 a.m. You literally want to curl up and die. Especially because when I work night shift, that was like our slowest time.
Oh.
And so it's like, we have to do this again. Another hour. And then you're just so ready to be home. You're so ready to be done. Yeah, it's shitty. I feel like working night shift, though, it almost makes you get past that feeling faster because you kind of live it in the moment, so that when morning comes, you are already tired.
I guess that makes sense.
You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, it's not fun.
And you kind of get to just readjust easier.
Forward, however.
That's fun.
Oh,
you get an extra hour.
It's 2 a.m. and you're like, it's 3 o'clock. Oh, love that. And I didn't ever have like any medications or anything in that time. I mean, everybody's asleep. And so it was just like, fuck yeah, except waking up my vets to give them meds in the morning. They're like, why are you waking me up so early? And I'm like, remember it was daylight saving time. I'm trying to get out of here. Like, take your meds. I gotta go.
Yeah, because for them it feels like it's an hour earlier.
Yeah, and they look outside and it's still super dark.
I remember as a kid, I hated the spring forward because you lost an hour of sleep.
Yep.
And you'd be like getting up for school and you're like, oh my God.
You're like, I can't do this. I'm sick.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like high-key, low-key jealous of my child for getting to do online school.
Right.
It's just like, this barely affects you. You could wake up 5 minutes before you need to be logging on and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Am I going to let you do that? No, but you could.
Right.
Realistically.
Right. And I feel like it throws me off too because let's say you normally wake up at 8 a.m. Well, now you're waking up at 9 a.m., assuming you're just letting yourself naturally wake up to how it would wake up. And so then you've lost a whole
hour of your day. Yeah.
And I remember when Michael and I, it was just us, and I've talked about it on here, where we would sleep in like super late. It would take us such a long time to get back into like waking up slightly early because we would sleep in until like noon. And now with daylight savings, now we're sleeping until 1. And so we're missing even more of our day. And it was just obnoxious.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's such a weird thing too, because it's like, I don't even know how we could have avoided it though. Because, it had a purpose. It wasn't just like, we're just going to shift time around for shits and giggles, So I don't really know how we could have avoided it as a society other than just like, sucks for you. You're just going to have to deal with not having the daylight. But I mean, it was changed in a time when like agriculturally they needed that extra hour of sunlight to be able to provide the food that we needed.
Yeah. I feel like we could definitely get rid of it now.
And I think that like different legislations and stuff are trying to do that. Yeah. It's just the argument of, will we go into standard or will we go into daylight savings? Yeah. And then where do we stay? Right. But then if we do go into the daylight savings and we stay there, that affects the rest of the world. Right. Because then they have to adjust to us being prissy and wanting a specific time. Yeah.
Time zones are just weird in general too.
Oh, they are. Because in certain places in the world, you can literally just, I think there's one group of islands. They're like literally 3 miles apart or something like that. I could be wrong on that exact amount, but it's like a really short distance. Like you can literally take a boat and get there in less than an hour. And I've never been there myself, but it's like on the international date line.
And what's that?
Where the time goes from being, I think Hawaii is the closer one, like in America, for America, whatever. Hawaii is the closest to the international date line, being the last area in the U.S. to turn over a new day. Oh. Right? Whereas like New York is the first, and not just specifically New York, but like that area is the first, right? Because they are ahead versus Hawaii being behind.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And so the whole like a world, turn over a new day.
The whole world follows that.
Right.
And so the international date line is that line between the first and the last, where the sun goes around and hits this one last.
Right.
And so it's those two islands are split between the international date line. And so you can celebrate your birthday on one, go to the other one,
and celebrate it the next
and celebrate it again.
Oh, weird.
You can literally party all day long and then take a however many long boat ride and then celebrate your birthday all over again.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
The international date line isn't even a straight line either.
That just really confused the hell out of my brain. I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Weird. Because isn't there somewhere like it's 2 days behind or something? Or is it only just one?
I think the way that it technically works out, because like I said, the international date line is not a straight line. It kind of zigzags a bit. And so technically there is a very slight overlap where you can be like a day and an hour behind. Oh, so that's technically being 2 dates behind, but that only lasts about an hour. And then you're a full day behind again, type thing. Yeah. But like right at the moment of the day changing over, then yeah, it's technically still 2 days behind.
Right.
But that only lasts an hour, and then it jumps to being the next day.
Gosh, time is really confusing.
Uh-huh.
You know, Michael and I have talked about this before. What would it feel like to, like, let's say you have all the means of being completely self-sufficient. You don't need to, like, really go out into the world that much. Like, maybe here and there, but it's, like, you don't have a job that you go to, or...
like, you just work your land type thing.
You basically just stay on your land. Like, you're really rural, like, maybe, like, off somewhere. What if you took, like, all the clocks out of your house? Like, didn't live by time at all, and just lived by, like, whatever your, like, natural state would be. Like, I just wonder what that would feel like.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think the only reason it wouldn't work, like, for today's age, obviously if you have jobs, but I'm saying, like, if you don't have any of that, is, like, if you needed to meet up with a friend or something, or if you needed to go to a doctor's appointment or something like that, because how would you judge that without a clock, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't think you could. Not while still being a part of society. Mm-hmm. I don't think you'd be able to be completely without calendars, clocks,
right,
or anything like that.
I just wonder how our bodies would adjust to that. And, like, it's our natural state.
We obviously used to do that.
Right, exactly.
And then obviously there are still some tribes that are not very modern that still do that to this day.
I just wonder what that feels like.
I don't know. My thought process on that is kind of like, clearly we felt like we needed some type of measurement of time because we invented it.
Right. Well, because we were also thinking about, like, back in the day, let's say I want to meet up with Kaylee at the grassy patch. I don't know. And I'd say, I want to see you tomorrow at this place. Mm-hmm. And you don't have clocks, you don't have times. Like, I want to see you when the sun is at this point in the sky. Like, I want to see you.
I'd imagine that's probably how it was.
Yeah. Or maybe it was a lot of waiting around. Maybe it was like, well, I know I'm meeting Kaylee today, so when I wake up, I'm going to get ready and I'm just going to go down there and wait.
Yeah. I'm sure they had measurements of time in the sense of, like, where the sun was in the sky.
Yeah. I just can't imagine, like, how you say that. Like, I'm going to meet you at this.
Well, I mean, like, let's pretend there's, like, a mountain in, like, a line of path where the sun goes down, mm-hmm. whatever, right? I guess you could word it as, like, hey, let's meet at the grassy patch when the sun crests the mountain. And so that would be, like, so the society that we have now invented,
right,
would have a notion of what that means.
Yeah.
You know, is that like as it's cresting or like after it has crested?
Right.
You know, they would know what that means.
And what if there's no mountain ranges?
Trees.
What if there's no trees? What if we're in like the middle of the U.S. where it's just rolling hills? Farmland. You know, like, I mean, I'm sure they figured it out.
Mm-hmm. I think that's how sundials became a thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they were like, we need some way.
Yeah.
Of
to be able to
figuring shit out. Because I've been waiting for Bethany for so long.
How would you plan anything?
I don't know.
I think like in today's day and age, we are so like things need to be quick. Mm-hmm. Like if I say I'm meeting you at 2:00 and by 2:45 you're not there, I'm probably leaving and like calling you also and like, where the hell are you? Are you okay?
Mm-hmm. But I'm texting you by 2:15.
Yeah, but I just mean like back then, if they didn't show up, you know, they didn't know it was 2:00. They didn't know it was 2:45. Mm-hmm. But after a certain amount of time passed, I feel like they would just typically continue to wait, or, you know, wait until the next time they see him and they're like, I waited for you, you know, you never showed up, kind of a thing.
The sun moved from right there to right there.
Yeah, I had to go.
Like, and then I had to be at home for dinner when it was right there. Do you know how long it takes me? It takes that entire length of time for the sun to move for me to get home.
Literally.
And you left me waiting. You know how much daylight I lost?
Literally. I just wonder how those kind of conversations went back then.
Just getting heated over the position of the sun. And then at certain times of the year, you're like, I just woke up. Why is the sun already high in the sky? What's happening here?
Right.
I'm wide awake and the sun's gone.
Yeah. And I think more people woke up with the sun. Mm-hmm. Like as soon as, because like when we go camping, the second the sun is out, we're awake. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, unless you have like a blackout tent or an RV or something, but if you're just in like a standard tent, and then when it gets dark, like you always think, I think if you're having like a multiple people like party situation, then you're going to be more likely to stay up super late. But I feel like when like Michael and I have just gone camping, when it gets dark, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to stay up super late and blah, blah, and then we're like, I'm pretty tired.
At least it works out where the sun stays out longer in the warmer months.
Yeah.
When you want to. Imagine if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Where it was like your day was just really fucking long when there's just snow on the ground and you're
can't
like,
go anywhere.
Cool, I have all of this time until bedtime and my driveway is ice.
Inside. Yeah. Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck.
Time's weird.
Yeah, it really is. And then explaining time to kids. Mm-hmm. Oh, good God. Because I don't remember how it was explained to me in the manner of like understanding.
Yeah. I think the only thing, and I still kind of use it to this day in my head, is the clock. Like
just listen to the clock.
What is it? Analog? Mm-hmm. An analog clock of like, okay, when it's done a quarter of the pie, it's been
no
15
analog
minutes.
Is I think analog is like the actual.
Oh, what's the circle one?
I don't think that's analog. Maybe it is.
What's the circle one?
Cell phone.
That's the one I'm thinking of in my head. I always think of the pie.
Yeah. That's how I do that too. Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. Analog clock. Let's see if I'm right or you're right. Oh no, you're right. Okay. Don't listen to me.
Oh, analog and digital.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just heard analog and I was like, yep, clock.
Right. Yeah.
So no, you're correct. Sorry.
So yeah, in my head, when I think of time, I think of it as a clock, as an analog pie clock. So if a quarter of the clock is gone, it's been 15 minutes. If it's half, it's been 30. If it's 3/4, it's 45, and so on and so forth. And I think that's the only way it ever really clicked in my head. Mm-hmm. And obviously you can't really explain like, 1:17 with that logic. But then I always assume, okay, if it's 1:17, it's closer to 15. So then you would have to understand numbers. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's why I'm really glad that we got Anna a digital clock. Mm-hmm. Granted, now she is so finicky when one digital clock and another one are not exactly the same. She came out the other day and oh my God, I wanted to murder my child. Obviously, not really. She came out and she was like, Mom, it's 8:07. I was like, yeah, it is. Good morning. She looked on the clock in the kitchen. She's like, that says 8:08. And I was like, okay, so either 1 minute has passed.
Yeah.
Or the clocks are just not in sync.
Right.
She's like, no, my thing said 8:07.
Then go buy that one if you would like.
And now when something is stressing her out, she makes this face like she just juts out her bottom jaw and it's just like super aggressive with it. And I'll be looking at her across the room and I'll be like, I want to just not look at you right now. Because for some reason, when she makes that face, because it's always like when something is stressing her out, and it makes me anxious for some reason, because she'll just be like, Mom, it is 8:08. And I'm like, okay. I got it.
So funny.
It's fine. Doesn't need to be that big of a deal.
Oh my gosh.
But she does it all the time now, whenever something stresses her out. And I'm like, girlfriend.
You are
kicking in my fight or flight for some reason with that face of yours. I don't know what she's doing.
That is
how
hilarious.
It started. But for some reason, I can't with that face. I do not know what I can't.
That is so funny. Yeah, Maverick doesn't know time at all. I mean, he is only 3.
Yeah.
But
neither does Damon.
The only thing he understands is when it's light and dark. He knows that when there's light, it's morning time. And when it's dark, it's nighttime. He doesn't understand that, if it's 1 o'clock and it's light out, he just says it's still morning time.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the hard part too with like the changing of the seasons. Because I remember in the summertime, I remember specifically last year, because I think Anna was old enough to really be like, oh, hey, this is an interesting tidbit that I'm learning. And then Damon was old enough to then repeat it. Of course. We'd be like, all right, it's time to get ready for bed. Because we tend to get ready around 7:30. Yeah. So that they're laying down by 8. That seems to be like what works best for us. Sometimes we'll start getting ready around 7 because sometimes shit can take forever. Right. Just kind of depends. Right. But in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. And I remember over summer, because again, doesn't get dark until like 9.
Sometimes later, to be honest.
I'll be like, all right, time to get ready for bed. And Anna will be like, no, it's still light out. I'm like, yes. But the clock says 7:30. So it's time to get ready for bed. But it's still daytime. Yeah. I'm like, you have adopted the whole Anna bullshit. The sky's awake. Okay. So I'm awake. She does the same thing. Hilarious. I remember the first time I heard my daughter, whose name is Anna, which I mean spelled the exact same as Anna from Frozen, right? Said something like that, and I just immediately just like in my head, I'm just like, it's the same child.
That is hilarious.
Because she does, and then Damon would be like, "Oh yeah, it's daytime. It's not bedtime.
Yeah,
it is bedtime. Go to bed."
I think this might be the first year that Maverick might do that because he looks outside and as soon as it gets dark he'll go, "Is it nighttime, Mama?" And I'll say, "Not quite, but here in a little bit we're gonna go to bed."
Yep. This winter we had that same whole thing where it would be like starting to get dark at like 4 o'clock and then be like, "All right, time to go to bed." I'm like, we haven't even had dinner yet. Yeah. I'd be like, why why haven't we had dinner? And then Anna will chime in. She'll be like, "Is it not bedtime?" I'm like, no. I wish it was.
Yeah. I wish it just always got dark at like 8 o'clock. Right. 8 o'clock night. That would be so nice. 7 a.m. light.
I remember in Montana, and I don't know if it was just, I don't know what it was, but I swear it was getting dark at like 2 p.m. And that was insane. And then it was like snow up to your butthole. But really not that cold. Because, man, the weather there was insane. Because you could go outside, or I did anyways. I would go outside in shorts and a t-shirt when
because it's dry there, right?
It's such a, like, very, very dry.
Yeah, and we are very wet here.
Yes.
moist Oregon in the valley.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I was used to Washington, which is pretty much the same thing. Very, very wet.
Yes.
So their winter and summer was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
And then I had the time difference with like my family and stuff.
Right.
And so like my mom would like text me because we've always been like the kind of mom and daughter who would just like text randomly.
Yeah.
Like she's my friend.
Right.
And I remember she would like text me and I'm like, Mom, it's like 10 o'clock here. I'm going to bed.
I
am
like, in bed trying to fall asleep.
Didn't even realize. Yeah.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of vice versa. Where I would text her too early.
Yeah. Kaylee, it's too early.
Yeah, I'd be like getting up, like it's 6 o'clock. I'm getting ready for work. I'm like, hey, how's it going? She's like, 5 a.m.
That's funny. What do you need?
Exactly.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think time zones can be hard too with like, I imagine for people in the military, it's gotta suck.
Yeah.
Especially with like, spouses with one of them being like overseas and it's like, not even, is it just a different time? It's a different day.
Yeah.
All together.
Yeah. I always think that would be super stressful. Like when their peak time of the day is your like sleep cycle.
Yeah.
So you miss that whole cycle.
Mm-hmm. One of our friends was, her husband was stationed in Japan. Mm-hmm. Thomas's friend Philip. Oh. I don't know if I've ever brought him up before.
I don't think so.
It's one of the people that he considers like a brother.
Okay.
Or he has in the past. And so I'm friends with his wife. Mm-hmm. Funny enough, we've actually never met in person. But we've communicated a lot over like text and all that stuff. And we just got close and we gossip and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Because like she married one brother and I married the other type.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah.
Because they consider each other brothers.
Right.
Anyway, so when he got stationed in Japan, she obviously moved over there too. And they have 2 boys. One of them was named after Thomas.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm not going to put his name on here. But we would like text and stuff. She's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, it's lunchtime. Right. You're in a different time zone. And like, if I was going to message her, I would like either try to math it in my head or I'd Google it really quick. What time is it in Japan?
Yeah.
So that I'm not waking her up or anything. And
right.
Oh, it was so hard to carry on a conversation.
Yeah, that would be very hard.
Mm-hmm. She now lives in Texas. So, I mean,
that's better.
Time difference is a lot better.
It's like 3 hours there?
I don't know. Something like that. I think so.
Maybe it's still 2.
I think they it's 3 to New York. So then, yeah, I think it's 2.
I thought it was 4 in New York.
Are they 4 hours ahead or are they 3? Because I thought the continental U.S. only had 4 time zones, which would make Montana 1 ahead, and then there's like Central Time, and then there's Eastern Time because it's Pacific, right. Mountain, yeah. Central, Eastern. So that would make them 1, 2, 3 hours ahead.
Okay.
And then
because the New Year's Eve 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Got it.
So they would be then 2 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
I think that it would be nice though to go to just one time all year round. Mm-hmm. Because I think the other issue too is like if you have analog clocks, I mean digital too, but like any of the ones that don't auto change.
Oh yeah.
Then you have to remember to change it or whatever. The one that was my grandma's, the clock that we have. I rarely ever change that one. So like half the year it's wrong.
Oh, I remember that. I remember coming over and it would like be slightly off and you're like, yeah, I haven't changed that. And then we would get close to the next one, either falling back or springing forward. And you'd be like, yeah, I just changed it, but now it's going to be changed again here in like a month.
Yep. Because it's always like, I either need to change it right at the beginning when everything changes over, or I'll forget about it. And then by the time I remember, it's like already close to when it would change again. And I'm like, I'm not going to fix it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
The one that if I forget to change one, the one that I forget to change is my car.
Oh, mine auto does that one.
Mine doesn't auto do it in my car. And so I'll get really confused. I'll be going to an appointment. I'm like, oh, I have like so much time. Why do I think I'm so behind? Mm-hmm. And then I have to really think about it, especially in like that first week.
Yeah.
I've definitely almost been late to work because I'm like, I have so much time. Mm-hmm. No, you don't.
Yep. In my Taurus, I did the same thing. That one did not change on its own.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I actually would always change that clock to be 3 minutes behind.
Oh, yeah.
I did that so that I would, or 3 minutes ahead. Sorry. 3 minutes ahead.
Yeah. Ahead so that you get there earlier.
Yeah. So I would get to wherever I needed to be 3 minutes ahead. Yep.
My dad did that in his truck growing up, but he did like 12 minutes, I think is what he did. Mm-hmm. Which seems like a weird time. But I think when you do it like an odd number, it's not harder, but it's not as quick for your brain to just recalculate it into the correct time. And so you don't try to do that. You try to just say, okay, that's the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what I did as a teenager, and it worked out. And I mean, now my car just does it automatically.
That's nice.
Oh, yes. It's so nice.
Because I forget every time. How do I change my clock again?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just daylight savings time.
I think that's it. I don't think we have more.
I don't think so. I'm curious to know what you guys think about daylight savings. Do you think that we should stay in, like, having the 2 times a year? Mm-hmm. Should we stay with just standard time? Do you want to stay in daylight savings time? How does it affect your family?
Yeah, and do you have any tips on how you guys adjust?
Oh, yes, I need them.
Quicker. Because it takes us a while.
With as many kids as I have.
Yeah.
I need those tips, so bring them to me.
Yes. Yeah, but I think that's all for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. See you next time, my friend.